Why would you keep it 27 and not shut off the 9? Look at the 150, 100 versus 256 cost per conversion. This here, for example, when you see that you have good watch engagement, they're engaging.
Yeah.
Are they clicking on this one and buying? That's all that this tells me here. But what if I watch that first and then click on the second, click on the third? Or what if I watch that first, click on the second, click on that third? And now we're looking at L1, L2, L3, or prospecting and then engagement and remarketing. All this is Google is picking its own mini funnel. To call them sequencing. So it picks its own sequencing, and that's what's telling me what is in the sequence. Something that's getting 2% of the percentage served is not in the sequence. So just because the CPAs aren't low does not mean that Google is not using that as one of the 3 videos to warm up and educate an audience. They're just not clicking. Inside of here, you'll see the conversions, the views. This is just a YouTube targeting strategy. And you can see you got some conversions here, but you don't really see, a lot of scale or anything, or a lot of spiking up. You also see kind of lower levels of efficiency, which is 1.08. Not bad, just not really good tracked ROAS, which is fine. So as I back down all of these metrics here, this is the cost. So the cost was only about $300 a day. And you can see the cost was at $300 a day, basically since June 4th, all the way out to July 29th. So you're testing this for a while. Mm-hmm. The reason why we're testing this here is we're trying to identify what other sources of truth can we look at to say, aha, we think this is actually making an impact. And then we start to level it up. What did our post-purchase survey say when we went from like $200 to $300 a day, then $300 to $400, and then $400 to like $600? This showed that the post-purchase survey went from like non-existent to like 1% and 2% all the way up to like 6% of all the sales. And I was like, okay, it's about 6% of all the ad spend. And our CAC was not removed. Our CAC was not increased. Excellent. So higher volume, flat CAC, and post-purchase survey is kind of trending around the percentiles of our total sales compared to Meta, for example. And Google's still kind of non-existent. No one really says like, oh, you do get a couple of people that are like, I searched for this, but because this is a unique and product that has not really been introduced to the marketplace, there wasn't existing search traffic for it. So you have to generate a market. You have to generate demand.
Right.
Exactly.
Awareness, top of funnel, all that.
Yep. So then when we started to see, and we're just doing ad testing. So we're doing like 3 to 4 new videos every 1 to 2 weeks. Sometimes it's week over week. Sometimes I get a batch of like 8 videos that I test over 2-week periods. So whenever they can get it to me is when I'll start to do testing. And the first thing that we look at is the percentage served. Does Google like this? Which means, is Google serving that ad often? And you can see the percentage served, which is here. So that's a column I use. And say, like in the last 14 days, if I show all the ads that were on at that time, you can see like, okay, this was on, but the percentage served was 3. So it's like, okay, Google is ignoring that video and ignoring that video. They're not showing the majority of the video. So shut them off. It's not going to work. We need new ad copy. So there's now the 3 videos that are on. And then I say, okay, are people engaging with the ad? They're watching it to 20% of them on these videos are watching 3/4 of the video, and that's 30 to 53 seconds. Good. We have good engagement, good percentage served. Click-through rates are fantastic at 1.1, 0.7, and 0.95. Google optimizes of anything over 0.55. You see these were not 0.55, which is what Google didn't really care about. So you say, okay, Google and YouTube like the videos, percentage served is high, the click-through rates are high, the people who are watching the videos are working well. Checking ECPNV, these are actually beating new customer visits from YouTube, beating Meta, which is insane because who clicks on YouTube ads? Practically no one, which means our CPMs are lower, which means our quality is higher.
Sure.
I'm gaining about the same amount of click traffic as I am from Meta. It's attributing less, but it influences more because more people watch YouTube videos that don't click but still like the product versus people that would click on Meta when they do like the product. So I know that those variations are okay, but I'm looking at $1.43 first touch versus $2.03 on Facebook. Excellent. Like I'm getting a whole bunch of good quality cold traffic that when I earn that click is just as or even better quality than what's coming from Meta because they're watching YouTube videos. I'm interrupting their day just like a feed. Excellent. So those are the things that we get to look at first is this quality?
Right.
Okay.
Now on all these ads right here, equal impression share, like equal impressions, like does YouTube actually really split tests?
Yeah. And that's where you'll see the percentage served. So basically it says if I have 100,000 people, you get 41%, 31%, and 22%.
Okay. But overall, you've got how many ads did
3.
you initially? Just 3.
20.
20. So when you were doing that round of like, all right, which ones are actually the ones that are going to resonate with the audience?
I do 5 at a time to
5
pick
at a
the top
time.
3.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Now, here's the thing is because the attribution, like, why would you keep a 27 and not shut off the 9? Look at the 150, 100 versus 256 cost per conversion. This here, for example, when you see that you have good watch engagement, this is, pretty good, inline 19, 18, 16. Okay, that's good. This is 14, 12, 12.
They're engaging.
They're engaging.
Yeah.
Are they clicking on this one and buying? That's all that this tells me here. But what if I watch that first and then click on the second, click on the third? Or what if I watch that first, click on the second, click on that third? And now we're looking at L1, L2, L3, or prospecting and then engagement and remarketing. All this is Google is picking its own mini funnel. To call them sequencing. So it picks its own sequencing, and that's what's telling me what is in the sequence. Something that's getting 2% of the percentage served is not in the sequence. So just because the CPAs aren't low, does not mean that Google is not using that as one of the 3 videos to warm up and educate an audience. They're just not clicking yet. So don't get rid of it if it's serving. Because then,
so I guess my question is, how did you narrow it down to these 3?
Those 3. If Google likes it, I will run it.
Got it. Okay.
And what usually happens is when you upload 5, you get 1, sometimes 2. This found 3. I'm like, excellent. Like, that's perfect. If there's 3 videos being rotated in perpetuity to cold traffic, that's a mini funnel right there, basically.
So it is really a split test. Like, we had this conversation late last night.
Yeah.
About Facebook, how Facebook just, if you're doing CBO, it just didn't put on one ad set. Like, it just picks one video and that's it. And it's not necessarily your best one. It's arbitrary.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a true
one that it found
test.
So far.
Right.
This is a true split test. Yeah, it really is. And that's what people, they sort of work against the algorithm because it's really arbitrary to say, take 5 videos and throw it in one ad set and cross your fingers. But that's kind of how Google likes to work. But it will work the magic for you by saying, hey, these people are engaging, they are clicking, they are watching. And I will then say, like, Ralph needs to see ad 132, John needs to see ads 321, Barry needs to see ads 123. Like, it will adjust the sequencing that it needs. And where people most often fail is they'll take this one and pause it. And now it's got to try to do what it did before with only 66% of the ads that you left on. It's gonna interrupt things. So if I say, okay, I think this is working well, let's spike up spend. What happens post-purchase survey? What also happens inside of the overall ecosystem? If YouTube is working, we should see a lift everywhere. It's almost like an incremental test, but I like incremental tests not by shutting off and seeing how much volume I can reduce to prove it. My volume test my incremental test is scale. Because if you do an incremental test, or if you do like a holdout test, all you do is lose volume to prove that marketing works. But marketing works at scale is much harder than, see, I told you that ad was doing something. So my test is always scale. If it's working, I should push it. And it should see
at a
reaction.
really simplistic level, though, if you looked at this, if you went into this, and you said, okay, well, I'm trying to find like the ad that actually works. Well, technically it's ad 11.
Yeah.
That's the one that's working. But you're saying, don't shut off your top 3. Like, how do you figure out, like, it's going to be your top 3? Is there some sort of threshold that they have to have based upon watch time?
That is your ultimate North Star right there. Percentage served.
Okay. Percentage served. So anything below like a 20 or so, you're like, it's not. It's not.
You want them to be sort of equal to each other. If you have 10 ads and they all have 10%, those 10 great ads.
Oh, okay. Because they're going from one to the other. Yeah, I see. So it's,
but if you have 10 ads and 8 are, at 12% and the other 2 have 0.1, they're dead. You have to replace them.
That's how you decide.
So you'll see this percentage served. This one's got 108 cost per conversion, but this one's shown more. So we won't be able to tell, did people just have to see this one more often and they were seeing this one secondary and it converted well? Then this one, Google is going to start to ignore. And now in a week from now, this may go from 22 down to 0. Great. Then these 2 are the only ads that are working.
Right. So
I got to replace this one.
Ad number 13, just because of the data is telling you that. So
yeah, if Google isn't pushing it, then it's probably not working. Now, here's the other thing, though, that's extremely important is the bidding strategy will reflect what this will show. So during this whole time period that I've been testing this, what I've been doing is going from a manual CPV to changing it over to a conversion-based bidding strategy. I did maximize conversion value. Then once I made it to at least a 1, I stuck it on a T-ROAS of 1. And once it was at a T-ROAS of 1 or above, that's when I was like, okay, now double the spend. And boop, it'll spend it. So the TROAS here, if it can find users at 100% and can scale after you've picked the right audience with the right ad copy, with what Google likes that actually is resonating, verified by CAC, and also confirmed by post-purchase survey, we're in a great position now, because a 1x return on YouTube of pretty much clicks, damn, like that is good.
That's
the other
impressive.
thing too the other thing you could do is, even if you have a a third-party software tool, you can go and say, well, show me all the converting paths in this last 28 days that I know are from the platform of, let's just say, YouTube ads, and then say, okay, if this is actually working, I should see a lot of attributed first click conversions. If it's working, because it is cold traffic, I can scale it. Post-purchase surveys does, everything's lining up so far, because we did the hard work of giving it enough time, testing enough audiences, testing enough creative, and testing enough demographics to then say, okay, we should actually be able to get this thing to scale. And my first initial thing to look at to say, can I double this budget and can I triple the budget, was, did I see this? And I did.
Yeah, you did.
Beautiful. That is a really good, nice first click. And that first click is showing too that this person has to click twice and 3 times and 2 times and come back direct 5 times here. Okay, good. Like, fine. Like, I'm seeing, my singular clicks are 38, 38, 84. Perfect. Good stuff. So that's when you can get a TROAS to lock in and scale, you are a home run. The problem is it takes sometimes 2 months of really good testing.
Yeah.
Some of my best scales inside of YouTube were running dormant for upwards of 6 months. Then you just crank it up, because YouTube is like inbound search, only it's harder, which means it takes the same amount of data for YouTube to optimize as it does inbound search, but it needs those off of click attributed. So you can have a large impact in your company and be really good position because of YouTube, but YouTube doesn't know it yet.